Hello friends, welcome to my YouTube channel, and this video we will study about stored procedures. So what are stored procedures? If you have went through like some of the popular programming language like C# or Java or maybe like Node.js or any of the popular languages, then you must have created some functions, and functions are, they're a block of declarative statements that have a name and then they take an argument list. So similarly it is the case with stored procedures. Stored procedures are a declarative block of SQL statements, and they have a name and they have an argument list. So stored procedures are used to increase performance. How do they increase performance? Why? They increase performance because once you create a stored procedure, it is stored in a parsed and a compiled format inside the database. So so whenever you call the stored procedure again and again, you do not need to every time parse and then compile the stored procedure. So this is the advantage. So it gives you better performance. They reduce network traffic. Why? Because if you fire some query on a database, then if through the network you have to pass the entire query to the database. But in case of stored procedure, it is like you just pass the stored procedure parameter, and you don't need to pass the entire query. So that is why it reduces the bulk of network traffic, and they provide code reusability. Why do they provide? Because once you create a stored procedure, you can call it again and again many times, so your code becomes reusable. Okay, and then security also. Why? Because you create some stored procedure that performs a specific operation, and then you can grant access to that stored procedure to some specific user to make your application more secure. So these are the distinct advantages of using stored procedures. So let us try to explore stored procedures in greater detail, and without wasting any time, let us go to the database, and I will say I already created some stored procedure. I will first of all delete them, and so just so let us try to understand stored procedure. So I'll okay. So how do you create a stored procedure? You write something like this: create procedure. Suppose I say the name of the stored procedure is pp1, and I said begin, and inside I write select star from departments, and then I say, so this is very basic simple procedure. So what is the name of my stored procedure? That is equal to pp1. So if you just go over here, I think here, then I have explained it. How do you create a stored procedure? Create procedure, then you give the procedure name followed by what? Followed by the parameter list, and then within begin and end you give the whole body of the stored procedure. So in the body of the stored procedure, first you make variable declaration, and then you perform some operations on those variables. Okay, like that. So here I think it is very simple. What is the name of the stored procedure? It is equal to pp1. These are just keywords that you have to write every time when you create a stored procedure. Okay, so I need to do one thing that is not exactly related to stored procedure, but I need to create a delimiter over here. Similarly over here. So why do I need to create a delimiter? Because the default delimiter is what? Default delimiter is semicolon. So what you are sending a bunch of SQL statement. Every SQL statement is terminated by a semicolon. So if they are terminated by a semicolon, then and semicolon is a default delimiter, then it will not take then MySQL will not take all these SQL statements in bunch. Okay, so that is why you need to provide the default delimiter to process your whole every SQL statement that you write inside the stored procedure as one particular bunch of code. So for that purpose, you just need to change the default delimiter for in this when you create stored procedure in MySQL. So here I do that, and I'll just copy all this, and let us go to the database and just run it. I think it will work. Okay, there are some errors. What is the error? Select star from departments. Okay, what is the error is that I need to always I need to even if there are no arguments, then also I need to pass these round brackets. I think now it should work. Yeah, okay, it is working. So now I have created the stored procedure. And how do you call a stored procedure? You write something like this: what is the name of the stored procedure? pp1, and you make a call to the stored procedure, and all right. So you are getting what? The whole departments table. See, this is what you have written inside the stored procedure: select star from departments. So I think I will set again I will set the default delimiter to be semicolon, and then I'll again call what? Call pp1. If I call it, then I'll get the whole department stable. Okay, so this much is clear. And then you can pass parameters to the stored procedures in 3 different formats, you know, in, out and in out. So let us see this also. So here I will create one more stored procedure. Suppose the name of the stored procedure is pp2, and I pass one variable a, and it is of type, say, suppose integer. And you know, the parameter passing mode is, say, of type in. So in means, you know, pass by value. So pass by value means whatever changes you make to this variable inside the body of the stored procedure, it will not be reflected outside the stored procedure or in your calling program. So here let me do one thing. I will say set a equal to a plus 10. Okay, a plus 10, set a equal to a plus 10. So this is what I did inside the stored procedure. Whatever argument, you know, you are passing to the stored procedure, I am incrementing it by what? I am incremented it by 10. So let us see if it is working or not. I'll just copy it. I think all right, I'll just copy it, and if I just go and run it in my database, let us see what happens. So yeah, okay, I will again change the delimiter, because now delimiter is what? $. So if I need to before, you know, I will set @ a equal to, say, suppose 2. All right, I've set, and then I need to call what? Call the stored procedure pp2, and I will pass one argument, that is @a. See, over here I've set @ equal to what? I've set it equal to 2. So if I pass, you know, I'm passing 2, and then, you know, the value of a is being set to what? A plus 10, that is equal to 12. But again, you know, if I do something like this, select @a, if I do, then you are getting what? 2. See, because whatever you have passed the argument as call, you know, in parameter mode, that is call by value. Okay, so whatever changes you are making, you know, inside the body of the stored procedure to the variable, that is not getting reflected in your calling code. So that is why the value of a still remains to be what? It still remains to be 2. Now let us do one thing. Let us change the parameter mode to be what? Let us change it to out. Okay, and I will say just whatever value of a you pass, you in the calling, you know, in your stored procedure, you are setting the value of a equal to 10, whatever, irrespective of whatever value you pass. So let us try to see this code also. I'll just, you know, copy it, and you know, before trying to do it, if I try to create it, then you know what will happen. Let us see. You know, procedure pp2 already exists. So first of all, I need to drop the procedure. Which procedure? pp2. Drop procedure pp2. First of all, I need to drop it. Okay, drop procedure pp2. And because, you know, when I created the stored procedure, I set the delimiter to be $. So over here I'll just first of all, I need to change the delimiter to semicolon, and then I will say drop procedure pp2. Yeah, I've dropped it. Now I will create the stored procedure, that is the pp2 stored procedure, and I need to call it. Before calling it, I will say set @a equal to, say, again equal to 2, because the delimiter is $. Okay, again I will change the delimiter to semicolon. Okay, then I need to call the stored procedure. What is the name of the stored procedure? pp2, and I'm passing one argument, suppose @a. Let us see. Okay, and if I, you know, select @a, it is coming out to be 10. Why it is coming out to be 10? Because you have passed a parameter as in which mode? You have passed it in out mode. So once you have passed it in out mode, that means whatever changes you make to the variable inside the body of the stored procedure, that will be reflected outside the body of the stored procedure or in your calling program. And there is one more mode, that is, you know, that is the in out mode. That is a combination of in and out mode. So there is one restriction with the out mode, and one restriction with the out mode is that you cannot access the initial value. You cannot access the initial value of the variable that you have passed in out mode. But that is not true in the case of the in out mode. So I think plenty of discussion with the, you know, all these parameter passing mode. Let us try to work around with some real example. Suppose I'll create a stored procedure, and that procedure basic, create a procedure to find if a number is odd or even. Okay, so I need to create a stored procedure to find whether a number is odd or even. So what I will do, I'll just remove it, home, and suppose the name of my stored procedure is odd or even, odd or what, even and I will take just one parameter in parameter mode, and suppose the name of the parameter is num. Okay, so what will I write? If num modulus 2 is equal to what? Is equal to 0, then I will say what? Select the number is even, then the number is even, else I will do what? Else I will say select what? The number is odd. I think it is very simple to understand. Okay, alright. So now I have created this stored procedure. What is the name of the stored procedure? Odd or even, that is taking an argument and finding out the argument that you have passed is whether it is even or whether the argument passed is odd. Okay, so I'll copy it, and I'll just try to run this code. Let us see if it is working or not. Okay, I have not copied it. Alright, so let us again go and copy this code, and let us go and paste it over here. Okay, there is some problem near okay, so whenever you create an you create a if, then you need to do this also, and if. Okay, so you need to do this also. Let me again go and copy it. I think now it should work. Yeah, it is working. So now I will say, I will first of all change the delimiter to semicolon, and then I will call what is the name of the stored procedure? Odd or what? Even. And then suppose I pass a argument 10. So 10 is a even number, so okay, so I think alright, call. Okay, so the number is even, but if you pass what? If you pass 11, then what will be the output? The number is odd. So you have got the output. So this is a very simple program. Let us try to make one more interesting program. So for this purpose, I will just use Mysql while loops. So I will Mysql while loops. So how do you work with Mysql while loop? Let us see if I can take any of these and take on the net. I just need to see the syntax of how while statement works. So it is was to see something like this. You give while, you give the condition, and then you set do, and then you do what? Then you say end while. Okay, so I think it can be done. So I'll just need to create a stored procedure. So what is next? Our next target, our next task is to create a stored procedure to find the number is prime or composite. Okay, so I need to find out whether a number is prime or composite. So I will create a procedure. Create, and suppose I say the name of the stored procedure is prime, and that is taking one argument. Suppose the argument, name of the argument is a, and it is of type integer, and then inside begin and end I'm going to write the body of the stored procedure, and before that also I need to specify what? Delimiter. So I say the delimiter is, say, suppose $, and here also delimiter is I need to end the stored procedure with $, indicating the end of the stored procedure. So here I just need to create the stored procedure. So how will you'll go for you go for this. I'll just tell you the logic which I'm going to apply, so that I think logic is not important. More than that important is that you understand the syntax of working with stored procedure, but still I will just try to make you understand this. So I will just open paint. Okay, so what I'm going to do, suppose you take a number, and suppose I'll just take a number, suppose say 21, and what is 21 divided by 2? 21 divided by 2 is equal to what? Is equal to 10. So I'm going to start a loop from 2 to what? 2 to 10, and then whenever I suppose, then every time I'm going to divide from 2 to 10, I'm going to first of all divide 21 by 2, then I'm going to divide 21 by 3, and then I'm going to divide 21 by 4, and so on like this till I divide 21 by what? 21 by 10. and this, and every time, whenever I divide and I get the remainder to be 0, that means this number is what? This number is perfectly dividing, this 21 number, for which I need to find out whether it is even or not. So for that I will increase the count, I'll increase the count. And if the count is greater than, so initially I will set the count to 0. I will set a variable count and I will initialize it to 0. So if the, after, this loop is finished processing, if the count is greater than 0, then the number is not prime. But if, if the count is equal to 0, then number is what? The number is prime. For example, let us say the number is 7. So and what is 7 divided by 2? It is equal to 3. Okay. So I will run a loop from what? From 2 to what? I will run a loop from 2 to 3. Okay. So I will first of all divide 7 by 2. It is not, the modulus is not equal to 0. Then I will divide 7 by what? Equal to 3. The remainder again is not equal to 0. So count, because it was initialized in this case to 0, it will remain to be what? 0. So 7 will become what? 7 will become a prime number. But if the number was suppose 8, then it, once you take 8 divided by 2, so on 8 divided by 2, the remainder will be equal to 0. So on that case, you will increment the count by 1. And once you get out the for loop, the count will, it will not be 0. It will be greater than what? 0. It will be greater than 0. So that is why I will say the number is not prime. For this case, the number is composite. Okay. So I think it is a very simple logic. These are just the basics of programming. I don't need to explain them. But still, let us try to, okay. So here I go. And so what I need to do, first of all, I need to declare a variable. See, I need to declare a variable, declare count, count, and I will say integer. Okay. Then I will declare a variable num, and that is also integer. And what is num? Num is, num, with this num variable I will iterate over the for loop. For example, over, if you just go over here, for example, in case of 21, you are iterating it from 2 to 10. So okay, so here initially I will need to set the value of what? Initially I need to set the value of num, and num will be equal to what? 2. And initially I need to set the value of count also. Initial value of count will be equal to what? 0. Okay. So here I do this, and while what? While num is less than or equal to what? C, for a divided by 2. Okay. So I just need to run the loop from where to where, because I till the from 2 to the number divided by 2. Why? Because any number, that is, suppose if if the number is again suppose the number is let's say suppose 25, then what is 25 divided by 2? It is equal to 12. So any number that is greater than 12 will never divide 25, okay. Any number greater than 12 will never divide 25. So that is why we just run the loop from, I need to find out if a is even, a is prime or composite. So any number that is greater than a by 2, it will never divide, it will never perfectly divide a and give the remainder as 0. So for that, for that purpose, I just need to run the loop till a by 2. Okay. And then I will say end while. I think this is yeah. Now in this, now over here I am just going to write the body of the for loop. So what will I write? I will say if what? A modulus num is equal to what? 0. If this is the case, then what I will do? Then I will say set, then I will increment the value of count. Set count is equal to count plus 1. And here, because I have, I have used if, then I will close if using what? Using end if. So I closed also, and then every time in the iteration of this loop I need to increase the value of num. So I will say set num equal to what? Num plus 1. So set num equal to num plus 1. So here I've done this, and here see, this is the the loop, the while loop. And once you come out of the body of the loop, while loop, you just need to check the value of count. If count is equal to 0, then what? Then I will say select the number is prime. Else I would say what? Else I would say select the number is composite, and after this I will say end if, and end $. So I think the body, the stored procedure has been created. Let us try to run the stored procedure if it is working or not. And if there are some errors, id prime the name will be is prime. Okay, id prime doesn't make sense. The name of the stored procedure is prime. Okay, let us try to run it. I'll just copy it, and then if I try to run the stored procedure, let us see if it is working or not. Yeah, very okay. So procedure is run, is successful. For example, now I will say first of all I need to set the delimiter. Okay, and now I will call the stored procedure what is underscore prime, and suppose I say 10. What the number is composite, but suppose I pass what 11, so number, I think this number is prime. Okay, the number is prime. Again, if you some more, suppose you pass 13, then 13 is what, also 13 is what, prime. But if you pass 14, then 14 is not prime. Okay, the number is composite. So this way, you got the working of I just created this program so that you can get a solid understanding of working with while loop. So how do you work with while loop? You first write the while loop, then you give the condition, and then you write what, you write do, and then you write the whole body, and then you close the while loop with what, end while. Okay, like this. And then if condition also, I told if you give some condition and then you give then, and then you can write else if also, and you terminate the if condition by using what, you terminate it by using end if. So we have got the basics of stored procedure up and working. So in the next video we will continue our discussions of stored procedures, and thank you so much for watching this video.